After 12 weeks and an additional 2 months leading up to the first broadcast, Boys Planet comes to an end and Zero Base 1 begins. The final top 9 members of the groups is Sang Hao, Sung Han Bin, Zaek Matthew, Ricky, Park Gun Wook, Kim Tae-rae, Kim Gyuven, Kim Ji-woong, and Han Yu-jin. The boys, they'll get a 2.5-year contract operating as a group, and I'm sure if they perform beyond expectation, hey, there'll be an opportunity to extend that further. Now, I don't have any more harsh words. I don't even have a warning for the boys anymore. Rather, I just want to say congratulations, and truly, enjoy this time in your life. Take your victory laps and forget all the insecurities that came before. More than that, take charge of your careers together, because if you let yourself be led too much, I feel like there's going to be something lost in the artistry. And few companies, I feel like they really don't know how to handle their artists. And even the ones that succeed on it, they're kind of riding on like the back of earlier successes, which is basically they just have loyalty and support, regardless of whether or not they do a good job or not. So, I wish these guys all the best for their debut song, which I think will probably come in a couple of months. Maybe even sooner than that. But also for Zhang Hao, good luck with your solo track. I wasn't too surprised by him getting the first ranking. I didn't really think he would, but I wasn't surprised. Like thinking back to Girls Planet, you have like Baye, and she was probably the people's champion. And then you have Chaehyun, and I feel like she benefited from just the growing number of people who had their favorites eliminated, and then they would switch their vote to the merit vote. And, Chaehyun proved herself over and over. She was very congenial with the G group people, the J group and C group. And then, in this case, like I said in the last episode, Zhang Hao has been playing it very smart. And so he's got, like, the love of the people, and then also he's just been performing consistently well. And so, I do wish Park Han Bin could have received something of a similar benefit. But I feel like maybe a split vote would have helped nobody in the end. For the other 9 boys who didn't debut, as well as several in the previously eliminated 80 boys, I feel like now's the time to work hard and build traction on social media. Definitely connect with the top 9, have your likes appearing under their postings, and just, regularly put up performance covers or originals, have live streams, and find any way to prove that you are worth poaching. Now, there are some people who will try with all their hearts and, never really get recognized, like High Rim. She's been doing solo content for a while, and she has a great singing voice, and she has great singles as well. But she just doesn't quite breach the views, and I feel like it's just because, there's only so much you can do. You need connections at the end of the day. And so, unless you're connecting with your fellow trainees and just constantly getting people to notice, then you can't grow beyond the base that you've already cultivated. And just assume that it's just going to pass through word of mouth or just people sharing your stuff. Because a lot of people, they don't even click on shared links anyways. But, as someone who watched Girls Planet 999, I did have the privilege of seeing many non-top 9s debut or go to participate in other shows. And it wasn't the end for people like, Nonaka Shana or Nagaina Manami and Kim Soo-yeon. Like even Terasaki Hina, who ranked last early on and then was saved by the self system for like maybe a few performances. She was signed onto an entertainment company and she was training to debut. She almost did debut in a group, but I think the company, as well as even Hina herself, I feel like they need to learn that her appeal is in being sincere, calm, and serious as a wholesome artist, maybe even a solo artist, but, trying to avoid the manufactured high-energy pop idol thing. It looks kind of strange, clownish, almost sometimes, by going over the top there. For her especially. Now, many of these boys, I feel like they already stand out. Wumuti, Chawunki, Haruto, Kim Min-sung, Seo Wan, Hiroto, Wang Zihao, Lee Adam, Christian Ali, Park Do-ha, Jung Min-gyu, and Takuto, those guys benefited a lot from the show, and so their very presence in a group, regardless of whether they perform well or not, is going to be beneficial. So, I can see those guys ending up somewhere, even if it's just like a comedy troupe. But in the top 18, the remainders, they're obviously good choices. Jae Keita, Park Han-bin, Kim Jun-hyun, Lee Jung-hyun, Yoo Sung-eun, Na Kam-den, Yoon Jong-woo, and Lee Ho-taek. And I truly believe that we'll see no less than maybe 6 different groups receiving transplants from Boys Planet. But the more the better. And if Eily 1 is any indication, the more of them in a single group coming together is better. So from the final 9, if you look at it, the vote disparity between ranks 1 and 4 numbered in the hundreds of thousands. So those ranks were pretty much a done deal. Non-disputable. I feel like 1 to 4, non-disputable. But from ranks 5 to 9, the separation was a mere 20,000 or less, meaning this is where the real battle occurred, and it could have been anyone's game. And I feel bad for anyone who ended up vote splitting and it cost them their favorite. Now, I don't know about anyone else, but I was pleasantly surprised by Gunwook and Ricky making the top 9. But it was a close call for Kim Ji-woong, who I did not expect to fall to 8th place, by the way. He could have easily not made the top 9 if those numbers were correct, and I'm still wondering how that all happened. But mark my words, the group benefits from these 3 making the top 9. I did not expect Keita to not make the top 9 either, and with how much they showed him worrying and sweating, I thought they were going to give him some kind of relief, and I kind of felt bad that, he was one of the longest trainees on the show, and he didn't make it. Park Han-bin was also someone I thought may squeeze through, and it was kind of like slightly heartbreaking to see him kind of weeping at the end. Part of me did wish Kim Jin-hyun made the top 9, not just to be besties with Gunwook, but I think he's misunderstood and also misjudged. And it's rare to find like such an unassuming and aloof kind of person who is also competent and talented like Kim Jin-hyun is. But people tend to like take people like that for granted, I feel like, and they laugh at them. But they're really very talented. If you took the remaining 18, top 18, the 9 of the top 18 and put them into a group, it may be slightly unbalanced, but a lot of them are actually all-rounders. And so I feel like, the leftovers there, despite the overlap in their typical roles, I feel like if you do widen the net, you could easily create maybe 2 more groups there as well. This episode was really interesting because a lot of the things I've said out loud as suggestions came full circle in the finale. And you had like Matthew calling himself Smiley Matthew, and I was saying this is all this guy needs to do and he'll succeed. And then you have Jay, and he was wearing a coat, a very heavy coat, and I like that a lot because I mentioned that last time. He should always wear that coat. And at the same time, I feel like some suggestions I made during the course of the whole season, they probably just didn't apply. And I've learned that there are cultural differences between Western masculinity in those aesthetics, and I feel like they work very differently in K-pop. And so for at least half of the equation, I feel like I really misunderstood this whole K-pop world. And some of those differences, maybe part of it's generational, because I really do like groups like Big Bang, and I feel like a lot of the boy groups today don't reflect anything. Like, they're all fighting for the same piece of pie, but none of those pies are very unique and interesting to set them apart. And so, I've never pretended that my views would align with the audience votes. Actually, I'm pretty sure I've said I tend to agree with the mentors, judges, or star masters on all of these competition shows. So I feel like that's why many of my comments, in my perception, it's almost like I was affecting the show by making commentary. And it's probably because the things I'm saying out loud were probably the same things being said to the trainees by the star masters and producers, because they probably have similar sensibilities to me. Now soon, Queendom puzzle will start, but I'm going to skip on this show, even though I covered Queendom, and I actually really enjoyed Queendom and had a lot more fun reviewing it. I really only review these shows to discuss with other people, and I play the weekly game of analyzing and everything to guess the outcomes, but it's just been really difficult to keep the schedule, and after Mnet falsely copyright struck my channel during the season as well, I no longer get proper notifications on comments, and so it's kind of a hassle to know when people are commenting on my videos lately. And also, when I review these videos, it takes about 3 days of my time, which is really more work than it's worth. The next time I'm going to cover a competition show is probably going to be an Easy Project, because I like the way JYP handles the show better than I feel like the survival shows. I don't really get the survival shows. I don't even feel like they're fair, and so the mechanics just don't make sense to me. But I always enjoyed the Western competition shows, and I enjoyed 16, the Easy Project. I look forward to the Easy Project season 2 with just boys as well. But other than that, I've also landed a major brand contract which starts soon, and I'll be doing some rigorous physical training as well to keep my mind and body in sharp because being off schedule has really just kind of like wrecked me a little bit. So I won't have time to review another show for a bit, anyways. Hopefully, it doesn't start until like the last quarter. But anyways, for all the people who tuned in weekly, thanks for stopping by and watching my reviews. I'm going to continue doing reactions to any K-pop music I find good or bad, so continue to look forward to that. That doesn't take too much time. But I hope to do an end of the year award show. But if I get busy, I may just end up footnoting it and just saying, hey, these are my conclusions about the whole year, instead of doing something fancy like last year. But I guess that's pretty much it. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you don't like it, give it a thumbs down. And if you're not subscribed, consider subscribing, and then I'll see you in the next video.